All right, we're back at the Taylormade Kingdom 2022 edition, post-pandemic edition. Back to the familiar confines of the kingdom. There's the club fitting van. There's the Rolex sign, pro shop, clubhouse. Great practice facility. A couple of par 3 greens down there. Great short range, chipping, putting. There's the range. You can see Angelo just there on the edge. Let's go see what's going on.
So weird because their setup's so different.
That's my coach literally gave the M6 to me and was like, here, just try this. Played in my whole conference championship with it.
Because it's one of those where this is the higher spin head, center of gravity further back, and then you have more with the lead tape.
Yeah.
And this is the one, and then the weight's all the way forward, so it's polar opposite.
Mm-hmm. I don't understand how it worked out and why it worked like that, but
it could be the loft on it.
Run it to the same loft.
They state the same loft, but I mean the actual loft is the same. I mean that's why you have, like on the tour van and everything, that's why they have all the heads that have the actual loft stamped on them. Where, I mean, there's always plus or minuses.
Okay.
So the M6 is kind of what you want to see.
Yeah, something like that. That'd be great.
Working on the driver right now. Angelo's go-to club for the last couple of years was the Taylormade M5 Tour. That's what he's hitting right now. He's actually broken the head 3 times in the last 3 years. All of the incidents very recent. Had to find a club head in West Palm Beach, Florida. A couple on eBay. And then for the conference championships at Data Island, South Carolina, he actually...
Is that kind of your go-to shot
yeah,
right now?
Gonna be playing like, you know, the 10-yard cut, start like left side of the fairway, bring it back to the middle.
Hang on one sec.
Yep.
Hit me a couple with the other one.
And now he's pulling out the makeshift backyard garage put together driver with lead tape on the back, Taylormade M6. With a stock shaft. And like I said, lead tape on the back of the club. But he went to the conference championships, played this club. Shot 69-69 the last 2 days, second lowest score in the tournament for the last 2 days. Ended up finishing 7th overall. What's it looking like, Chris? Which one's the better stick for him?
This is the M5.
Well, if he wants to hit fairways, the M6. If he needs distance, the M5.
Gotcha.
I mean, because the first one you hit with the M5
That was good.
flew 8 yards further, and then even like the second one that you kind of missed out to the right with more spin, it still flew 8 yards further. Now, but I understand if it's one of those, if you're struggling with your swing, or you get on a tight golf course and you're not worried about distance,
Yeah.
the M6 is going to be better. Because when you hit, so the M5 being lower spinning and everything like that, if you launch it lower for a trap, then it's not going to have as much spin. So if you don't cut the M5, it's going to fall out of the sky. Whereas the M6, it's going to, even if you kind of hit a straight ball, it's going to kind of hang in the air. So I think it's one of those. I think from a shaft standpoint, I think that might be part of why you've maybe felt like you had to go to that shot, just because of that kind of steep fade and what you have to do to load that shaft is how you load that shaft. Whereas something that was maybe easier to load, you might feel like you could let it go and be a little bit more accurate. So, because ideally, I mean, one's good for fairways, one's good for distance. If we can kind of get somewhere in between, which we can get to easier with this.
So what'd you pull out there, Chris?
The stealth driver.
The
Stealth.
Stealth Plus.
Nice.
And just a regular Stealth, 9-degree heads.
And all the pros are using primarily the Stealth these days right now, the Taylormade guys?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, you've got, most of them are playing the Plus, and then you're going to have the odd ones that play the regular Stealth.
The Plus is the Tour version?
Yeah, a little bit lower spinning, center of gravity further forward.
Here goes the Stealth. With a different shaft. Shaft is similar to the one he's got on his 3-wood right now. Morning. How you doing? Good, thanks.
What's up, TC? Good.
That one's really good.
Because see, that one there, you hit 2.6 down on it. You got your kind of 9 and 2500 spin rate, but all you do hit slightly more neutral with it, and you get the little bit higher launching, lower spinning one.
Yeah.
T-line's starting to drop. Because yesterday afternoon was brutal. As that freaking moisture's coming up. Did you see water in the short game area yesterday?
No.
After 2.5 inches of rain, there was water in the short game area yesterday morning. Perfect. One more of that one.
Yeah, I like that one.
Still really like this shot. Okay, let's hit that. You see it? Bottom of the face.
A little bottomy, yeah. That would be a good test case.
It's not bad for bottom of the face.
I'd say so. One of my college roommates from
Ballsby
Kingston.
stayed at 168. It's
Kingston?
dropped 2
Yeah.
miles an hour.
Yeah, Kingston's about 2 hours from us.
But
Like
it's expected
east,
off
northeast,
bottom.
Yeah.
Toronto.
Yeah,
But it also
about 2 hours.
here.
Yeah, really tight.
So I had 2 Canadian teams, one from there and then one from Kingsville, just right there by Detroit,
Yeah.
way south. But
Definitely feel like it. I need to get a little more spine tilt to get it up in the air.
Yeah.
But I mean, I like that shaft when it comes off and I hit it well. You can tell it's just not a ton of spin on the ball.
So what are you hitting now?
Then just changing up shafts right now.
With the Stealth Plus or the Stealth regular?
Plus, yeah.
It's the exact same.
Yeah.
I don't start changing settings until I find the shaft, because if I see a change in numbers, I don't know what caused it if I'm changing multiple things at once.
Sure.
yeah, it did. But it came out
Mile
like,
and a half
it came out
faster.
like knuckle.
Yeah. But it's one of those where he likes spin. So if I can get a knuckling, I can always get the walk up or move. Because he's playing an M6.
little bit of heel strike there. But really tight.
Nice shaft.
Yeah, because that heel one only got up to $3,000 versus like 3,400 with
Yeah.
the other one.
That's huge.
I mean, and that had to be a little bottom face because
Little
it says
bottom,
you
yeah.
hit up on it 0.6, but you only launched it at 7.7.
Yeah, a little bottom. I mean, play a little bottom heel.
So Chris, what's the distance like?
I like
Pretty
the bottom
damn
heel
good
at
for bottom heel.
$3,000.
What's the distance like to this club versus his M5 or M6?
Well, that bottom heel was about 5 yards further than his M6 and about the same as his M5.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
That's the quick T pickup there.
That's a good one right there.
That's like nothing.
Yeah,
Because that was 15 yards further
Yeah,
than that
just
last
on the
one.
toe.
high on the toe a little
I
bit.
think he'll just, yeah.
I mean, because that's as simple as, I mean, ideally, I'd like that number a touch higher,
Yeah.
but I don't mind the launch there for that swing because you're hitting down. But if we can get that down number to be kind of 25, we know when you hit up, it's going to be 22, and when you hit up, you're launching it higher, and you do need a little bit lower spin.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've gone from the Stealth Plus to the regular Stealth, using the same shaft as the last couple of shots.
Not a huge fan of the weight in this one, not gonna lie. Just that one swing, I don't really like that. Just pulling it back, it just felt weird.
Is it heavier or is it lighter?
The heads are going to be within a gram weight-wise, but center of gravity is definitely much different.
I feel like there's a lot more pull. I mean, the center of gravity is always in the back, so I feel like,
Yeah.
it's like there's a lot more pulling my club back. If that makes any sense. I'm gonna try one more.
Was that solid?
That was a little out of the toe.
Okay.
That was solid.
Yeah. Let me see. It just didn't sound as solid. See, the other issue I had is I couldn't turn it over. I mean, you playing a fade, it probably was one, and that's why Morikawa was in it for so long, because it was easy to fade it.
Yeah.
But I've got to be able to, for myself, be able to hit a draw without fearing the left ball, because I had to work so hard to hit the draw with it. I'd get the diver that I couldn't stand.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what's Morikawa using right now?
I think he's in the stealth.
Is he?
but
Okay.
It's like him and driver heads is like DJ and shaft.
Oh wow.
So what do you got now?
It's a little extra weight in the back, I think, right, Chris?
Yeah.
On the
Stealth
on the
Plus.
plus?
Plus.
Same shaft?
This is what is this?
Yeah, same shaft.
Tensai.
Yeah, that's the one that we've gotten the most speed with. Where's that hit on the face?
Pretty square. Pretty center. Pretty center.
Ooh. There's the toe one.
So how does the driver handle the misses? Are they still playable or are they bad?
It's the toe's still gonna be the question mark.
Okay.
The biggest improvement on misses is low and heel. The heels don't tend to leak as far right with this head,
Okay.
and low on. It's amazing how fast it is low on the face for whatever reason.
That was pretty center as well.
So if you were playing right now, Chris, you'd be having the Stealth in your bag.
Yeah, that's what I've got. I've got stealth plus in the driver, plus in the fairway, and then I got a hybrid. I got a hybrid and a 5-wood that I switch out.
Okay.
Feel a little better?
Yeah. the spin on that guy. That was pretty heely.
It's got a bunch on it.
See it down a little lower.
Well, but it didn't really climb. It had enough to stay in the air, but it didn't really climb.
Yeah.
What the weight change did to the ball numbers,
What did it do?
as far as the misses got spinnier, where yeah, a solid strike was good, but like I went back to the original weighting, but went up a tick in loft.
Okay.
Because that same thing is going to raise the spin about the same as what it does, but that way, because the center of gravity is further to the face,
Yep.
the misses are going to be much more controlled.
Yep.
The other thing too, when you get the center of gravity further back in the head, that speeds up the rotation of the face. So that's why, like, even if you had like a sim or a stealth iron, like the big game improvement iron, and an MB, and they both had the same offset. The MB is still going to be more of a fade bias club because it's got the center of gravity closer to the face, so it's easier to work being more fade bias. Where something with the weight further back, it's going to want to release
Yeah.
more. So for a guy that likes to turn it over, I don't like seeing the ball go left at all. I want the ball to start left, but not
Finish
go
left.
left.
That's me.
Call me out and toe left.
That's me jumping out of it.
So tee it up and hit one.
Yeah.
Wide open par 5. See, that's you could tell that was bottom face
Bottom,
from the attack
yeah.
angle and where it launched,
But it's still
but it's still
flighted.
flat.
Yeah, it was flighted.
That one still flew 276. With bottom of the face, it launched at 8 with 31.
Okay. Let me try one more.
So what's the carry when he's hitting it proper?
With this setting is kind of 283, 285.
And what's the swing speed right now?
13 to 14,
Okay.
which is a guess because I feel like it changes from year to year as the heads change color and depending on how TrackMan reads and the camera's way it picks it up can be different.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I know the M5 Tour tends to read a little bit faster with it being a smaller head.
That was really good.
Yeah. That was more of a stock swing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was 1/6 down. 2 sets of heads. Because we've got basically 4 heads that they send us per year to fit with of each loft. So then we put 2 out on the table at a time. That head is the same one that's been out here since January, and you can't even tell it's been hit.
Yeah, I mean, it looks really good. Really good shape.
And that is, I mean, that's the one thing. It's really hard with this driver. With the old ones, you can say, where did I hit that, and look at it.
Sure.
You don't see that there.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. That's,
Yeah, we got
so it's a little bit better on wear. Now, the other question that people always go to right after that is, well, when do they do it in the fairways? In my opinion, there's no way they can do it in the fairways. Because really, from my standpoint, probably need a 245 to 250 carry
Yeah.
out of whatever club we do.
But with some height though, because
yeah.
his 3-iron, he's great with a 3-iron, but if he hits a par 5, it it doesn't really hit and stick. It'll roll out because it's so low.
So like, I can hit the 3 with like that every now and then.
Well, see, but that seems really spinny.
Just
Because it
balloon,
looks
huh?
low and
Yeah, it's just ballooning.
that looks kind of like the controlled driver swing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's right at 240 just because it is spinning. Now hit the other one for me.
So which one was that one, Angelo?
That was the M5.
Because here's the other thing I look at from a gapping standpoint. That one flew 240. It only rolled out to 254 because of how spinny it was. if you're flying driver at like 275, 280, I've got to have the 3-wood rolling out to kind of 270-ish.
Sure.
And that way, if you get a short par 4, but let's say you can't go long and it's 280 to the middle of the green. Well, you can't hit driver because driver lands front center, it could bounce over.
Right.
But if you had a 3-wood that could roll to that, then you can hit 3-wood.
Yeah.
Worst case, you're leaving yourself a chip.
Sure.
If it doesn't run up.
So at Data, the first hole, Angelo, were you going full out with your driver on that hole, or were you?
I was dialing. If I went full out, I could have been over that green. Into
That's what I'm saying. So a 3-wood there might have been.
Pretty useful. That thing is a lot more penetrating.
Yeah, well, it's got what, 1.5 degrees less loft on it too? Because that's a 15 and your other one's
this is a
17 down a
15.
notch?
Yep.
Yeah. See, and that one is a little on the hot side.
Yep.
Because that one's only spinning at 31 and
And
rollout was like 282 on it.
Yeah.
See, and that one's closer because that one's kind of that bottom face miss it sounded.
Mm-hmm. That was probably a little
But it
bit
only
closer.
spun at 34, where a bottom face miss, I want to see it like 39, maybe $4,000, because it's one of those where that's not doing what your strike told it to do.
Correct.
From an ideal standpoint.
Correct.
So
I'll tell you that last one flew 253 and rolled out to 270.
Okay.
So essentially, that one doesn't go far enough because it spins too much. That one doesn't spin enough, so that one to hit your number, you've got to bottom face it
Correct.
to actually hit what you're looking for out of a solid strike.
Correct. And it's a fun club to hit if you're trying to hit it farther with your buddies and hit it farther through than everybody else. But
I've never understood the talk of the hot 3-wood.
I mean,
It made no sense to me ever.
Yeah.
Because I don't need a 3-wood that creeps up on the driver. If I'm pulling 3-wood, it's because I'm trying to hit less than driver.
Correct.
But then, if I've got a 3-wood I'm comfortable with, I can turn it over and run it out if I need a little bit extra distance. All right. Hang on a sec.
Cool.
So what's your issue with the 3-wood? Is it consistency or is it distance?
It's all about, well, I mean, consistency falls with distance, but my strike is very different every time.
Is it?
I don't have confidence on the course when I'm hitting this club.
But it looks like you're taking good swings here.
Sure, I'm on a range. It's easy when you're on the range.
Easy there, Caddyshack.
Yeah.
So what club we got here, Reynold?
Stealth, the regular Stealth 3-wood.
Okay.
Definitely spinning.
Seeing how that one bottom face kind of rose just a little bit more?
Yep.
Yeah, see that was right at $4,000.
A little more draw bias to this one because I normally don't turn it over like that. That one. I mean, I think I'd hit pretty
It probably
decent.
is just because your tour is probably a little bit flatter angle.
Okay. That's a good one.
Let me see it.
Little toe cut, toe thin. Yeah, I thought a lot better. Peg one more.
Peg one for me.
Peg one.
See, that was 256, 273. So it kind of hits that gap.
Yep.
Spins at 3,800 on a cut, so that's really good.
never hit a 3 wood that high. It's kind of nice to see. Literally, I didn't have too much spin on it either.
It's a little much. Was it?
I tilted back a bit. I'll just stay neutral's posture again.
I mean, if you think about it from a swing standpoint,
Yeah.
the difference in a 3 wood off the deck and a 3 wood off the ground should be nothing golf swing wise.
Okay.
So if we think of how the 3 wood's made, or any wood's made, you got roll and bulge. So if we've got 15 degrees of loft there, if I've got 17 up there, probably got 13 down here. So when you hit a 3 wood off the deck, hit slightly down, you're working middle to bottom of the face. So it's going to launch lower with more spin to get to your, let's say, a 75-foot window, 80-foot window, whatever it is. Off the tee, you make the same swing. The difference is you hit it middle to high in the face, so it launches higher with less spin, but you still hit the same window. You get a lot of people that sit there and they get on a tee and they, oh, I can try to launch it now. And then they get the higher launch, higher spin because they're using more loft. High in the face, wasn't it?
Yeah.
A little diggy.
That was better contact. Should have better numbers on it.
Spin a little bit less because it's the plus head,
Okay.
but it's a little bit flatter lie angle because it's technically the tour head.
Okay. Yeah, that one, it looks better on the ground compared to the other guy.
I mean, because the number, so now we just got to peg it again, because the numbers on that first one were identical to this other one
Yep.
off the deck. Kind of that. So that one was right at 4,000 with a cut. The first one was 3,500 on the straight ball. Right at 250, 255 carry. I just like to see this one a little bit flatter. Like that.
Yep. See, that
Well,
one.
we should see 5 yards more carry off of a tee.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Or 10.
So this is the plus?
This is starting to grow a little more for me than any other shit I've hit.
Yeah.
This is the plus?
Yeah.
What length is yours actually at, right? Let me see yours. Or this.
You think chopping it down like half an inch would be worthwhile?
That I was thinking because of what we did, because off the tee that one technically got a little hot and the spin rate came down. If we went shorter, that would also a touch shorter, not a lot,
Same thing.
but if it went a touch shorter, that would allow me to put a little bit more weight in the back of the club
Okay.
to get the spin rate up a touch.
If I try choking one off the deck now.
Yeah. Yeah, see that was better. See that was 3,700, 253, 270 number.
Okay.
And we still get the same flight off the deck.
Yeah, I mean, this one is by far one of the best ones I've hit. This one feels a lot easier to get through.
Doesn't go left either.
Not going to
It's
lie.
right at 30. That was right at 3,500 again.
Like that, the other sim I or the other stuff I had to like hold off so we get that draw.
Well, and that's more probably lie angle than anything.
Yeah. Well, I've always known that 3 woods tend to be a draw favorite club, They sit a little more.
Well, it's because they got more loft.
Okay.
So more loft is more backspin. When you have something, it's easier to turn over, because if you go to turn over a driver that's really low spin, it wants to dive on you.
Yeah.
So a 3-wood tends to have a little bit more spin, so you're more comfortable turning it over.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty stingy.
Yeah.
Do one more.
So-
up a little bit.
This one, you kind of got like a back right pin over a bunker on a par 5.
Yeah.
So it's kind of one of those where if you hit the spinny cut, it lands softer, plus you take like 5 yards off of it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I haven't had that kind of workability with the golf ball in a long time. Basically, I mean.
Right at 253 versus 257 too. So got the spin rate up a touch, distance come down.
With my shorter irons, maybe working with a more MB style, and then with my longer irons, working back into the, I don't know, whatever like the equivalent of mine right now are.
Well, yours are kind of in between,
Yeah.
because they're not quite. Yours are kind of the loft of a 770 with the look of an MC.
Okay.
So,
I mean, I'm fine with
what
with
is it
loft.
that you would struggle with typically?
Launch back.
Like, if there's something that you would say the new irons need to do because my current irons don't do.
I mean, I really don't have a complaint. I've been playing them for the last 4 years. Because
Well, I mean, that was, other than the MB and CBs of like 2012 that had the
Back in the
screw right
day.
behind the face,
Yeah, I remember those.
there's not really been a better iron
I mean,
than
I
that
don't
one right
really.
there.
Yeah,
The only other one, but the 760 was a pretty good head versus that one. But
I mean, I don't truly have anything to say bad about these irons. I hit them really well.
what would be your typical carry with that one?
My set since the 7?
Yeah.
We're going to like 178.
Okay. What ball you playing?
TP5X.
Okay. Because most of those are probably TP5s. I would assume.
TP5s, yeah.
So, because spin rate was a little high.
Okay. This is a 5X right here. Yeah, I mean, if there's one complaint I'd have, it's that my short irons spin a little too much. That's
Yeah. Well, I can see that because I mean, you're at 74 with a 7-iron. Now, the other thing you got to think about, if you go more blade in the short irons, they're gonna spin more.
correct.
So if that's your, I mean, that's the other thing too. But it's, we can probably look at a different shaft that.
I mean, what have we got? X100s in here? Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're looking to really flight it, maybe a little. Look, I was playing Dynamic Gold X7s,
Okay.
and I've gone into the KBS Money Taper.
Okay.
So Money Taper is going to be a similar profile to KBS Tour, but it's typically a little bit lower spinning.
Okay.
But it just all depends on what it actually does from a.
So what about
Like because the easiest way to change spin rates is to de-loft, but you're already at 2 degrees, which I obviously with the way you strike it, I know why they went that way. The other issue, if you start de-lofting too much, is you start to lose too much bounce.
Okay.
Because as you got to think as you get rid of loft, the leading edge gets sharper, you lose bounce.
Okay.
So what about in terms of consistency, knocking down pins? Is it the blade versus the?
That's not. I mean, that's not really going to have any effect on it. I mean, you get somebody in the right kind of spin with the right shaft, and there's going to be no difference really in a blade, an MC, or a 770.
Okay.
Because the difference is really when we're looking at heads from that standpoint, you got the MB, which is the highest spinning head.
Yep.
You have the Stealth, which is technically the lowest spinning head.
Yep.
So if it's one of those where some guy, I mean, my first instinct typically, guy that spins it too much with a MC type club, I'm going to start with 770 typically because it's lower spinning.
Okay.
So,
But the 770s are bigger looking, correct?
smidge.
Okay.
So that's your stock 7 there, right?
Yeah, it's my 7. Shaft a little heavier?
A bit lighter.
Ah, really? It's a little heavier. Let's say.
So their verbiage with it is so you see how the steps on it are like the shallower. They call it an elongated step pattern, which is the same profile as KBS, so it should still feel fairly similar.
Okay.
Tends to be a little bit lower spinning.
So this is money taper?
Money taper. It's got a dollar sign on the
All right.
label.
Definitely won't spin hitting it that heavy.
No. Feels solid. I mean, I can't really tell much of a difference between this one and the last KBS we were hitting.
This is the next one under there. That one just feel better to you?
Yeah.
Yeah. More club head speed, more ball speed. Spin rate's about the same, if not a touch more control.
I mean,
It's a familiar. I mean, it's a familiar feel.
Yeah.
I mean, I played Dynamic Gold my entire playing career, and I only switched when I stopped playing.
Okay.
I mean, I'd taken a couple years off. I was playing a really old set, and my swing had changed a bunch. But I mean, playing day in and day out, I mean, that's just something that feel-wise you're comfortable with. But this is more for getting the gap even from 3 to 4, 4 to 5.
Perfect.
Rather than a forgiveness or height standpoint.
So this is the 770?
Just that sound off the face.
Good sound or bad sound?
It's really, really fast.
Yeah, and that's 5 yards more than the MC.
Yep.
So if you think about it, 5 yards cuts down on that gap.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I honestly do need a little bit of extra support with the 4-iron because that's about 220 for me. My 5 is 210, but I can easily get a 215.
Yeah.
So then I have that 220 to 250, 245 gap that, you know, is like my my red zone.
Well, see, that's like for my golf swing.
Yeah.
My goofiness in my set is my 6 to 5 iron,
Okay.
and 6 to 7.
Okay.
For whatever reason, the center of gravity of a 6 iron in me, I only hit it like 8 yards further than my 7. With my 5 iron, it hit like 15 yards further than it.
I'm kind of in the same case with my 6'2", to be honest.
And it's one of those where if I would love to go to like a more forgiving 5 iron,
Yeah.
but I have to transition at 4 iron, because if I go to a more forgiving 5 iron, now I make my gap from 6 to 5 even bigger than it already is.
Sure.
So.
Sure. Yeah.
But the shots that you really need.
So I definitely had a little more.
That one had a touch of heel grab.
Yeah. But not as much as my other one. That one had none. There's a difference. What is this one?
That's the low bounce. Now, here's the other benefit, what they did. Tiger plays a lot of bounce on his wedge.
Okay.
What they took and added this year to the low bounce wedge is the leading edge grind that Tiger's has.
Okay.
So that way, when you're more square faced,
Yeah.
there's more bounce to where just because it's low bounce doesn't mean you're going to dig it in.
Okay.
It just adds that little bit extra versatility. So you've got the leading edge bounce to have a little bit more on full or mostly square face shots. Then you have your normal C grind, and then you have all the relief back here. So you have all the versatility.
Supposed to be better, right?
I would say without putting it on a loft and line machine, your wedge is probably a ½ degree more upright than what this fitting wedge is.
Okay.
So you said, because you said you felt the heel grab less.
Correct. Like this one, so like I don't really hit a lot of chips right now where my club is like neutral. Even when I want to open it up and I got to hit something a little higher, I'll just like lift the toe up. Or
And
lift
is
the heel.
that because the heel's been grabbing?
Correct? Yeah, I don't have any trust in it.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
it's-
now go back to the way you would ideally want to play them, with I guess with your hands a little bit lower.
Yeah. Yeah, like, I mean, I haven't been able to feel like that. Every time I would do that, this is just digging in and I'm coming over it. This lie is not as good either. Yeah, still really good.
Because here's the other benefit: if the heel doesn't grab,
Yeah.
your spin's going to be more consistent. Because the other issue is, even if you play and you judge the heel grab, the toe's releasing, you're turning the toe over, so you don't have the same spin
It's a
on it.
different thing every
So it's
time.
going to hit and release.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't been able to do that in a really long time.
And the other thing that you got to think about too, you're doing that and you have a 58 in your hand.
Yeah.
So you're able to hit it just as high with a 58
Uh-huh.
because of the grind than with the 60.
Yeah. Yeah.
So go on line with the blue flag to the left,
Uh-huh.
but just to the end right to the end of the tee line. So I want like a mid and then a high kind of feel. And then what, you just release the right hand slightly harder and get so you expose the bounce a little bit more to pop it up in the air.
Yeah, I'll just open the face a little bit extra. And I mean, it's everything else the same. I just lean forward.
Yeah. I mean, because the other spot you get into is you're probably screwed.
This is where I'm.
Absolutely screwed with yours right now.
Yeah. So.
You can go straight ahead. Because it's more, this one's more the down like bottom of the hill, so in between the green flag and the tee line distance. Because obviously if you're hitting it more green flag, you've got enough speed you can get away with it.
Yep.
But it's the softer hand shots off of this type of lie.
Yeah, that's kind of what happens.
See, but that was just an inch behind it.
See, and like this is one of those cases where I'm just picking the heel up. But I'll try again.
Release that right hand.
So when you're doing this, like how do you play the shot?
It's all right hand.
All right hand.
So it's one of those where it's gonna be more that feel. Because what got me practicing one-handed was into the grain shots. Because into the grain sucks. Because you got two options. You can just go that way and just get away with it, or you kind of tend to pick it. Well, I'd sit there and just I mean, I'm not taking a divot. I'm getting down to the turf, so that's the feel.
Okay.
But it's one of those where if I get my weight too far forward, then it starts to dig more. So it's more of a neutral. It's more of a neutral weight placement, because that way I keep it shallow. But it's one of those where that way I'm getting the leading edge under it. So make the same move, but just have a little less weight on your front foot.
Okay.
Because you got to think, you're choked down, you're steep enough to get, and there's less enough bounce on that wedge to get the leading edge underneath.
Yep.
Just a little bit less weight on your front allows you to shallow out so it doesn't, yes.
It's fair.
And it's one of those off a tight lie, you don't have to hit it perfect. You know you're playing with the bottom two grooves because of the lie.
Sure.
You're just trying, and that's just part of your factor when you look at your lie. Good.
Yeah. Okay.